Hey, what's going on? I wanted to show you this trick that I'm using for chord progressions with the Chord drum to get stuff that sounds like this. Now, you don't need the Chord drum to be able to do this. You can do it with the MIDI controller or like a drum pad. Any of those will work. I don't really know how to play keys. I know how to play one chord progression. That's really it. That's really all I know. I have this one too. It's really just the same thing. I can sort of play the chords, but I'm not a key player. I'm a drummer, and I can really articulate myself a little bit more if I'm playing on the drum pad. So let me show you how I've done this. I'm using the Reason Rack plugin, and I've been really excited to get reacquainted with the old Reason synths because it was the first DAW and first piece of software that I ever really worked with. I created a patch, and then what I've done is I just played the chord until it died out, and then I sampled that chord and I put it into a drum rack. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So, right, okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of those different chords, I'm going to cut them up, and then I'm going to put them into the drum rack, and then I'll be able to play them with the Chord drum. And then I'm going to supplement those sounds that I just created there with Chord drum sounds to get it to sound beefy, good. Before I go over to the Chord drum, I just wanted to talk about the synth that I use to create my chord samples. I'm using the Reason Rack plugin, and I'm using Subtractor. Subtractor came out in 2001. It's so old, and I haven't really messed with any of the synths or instruments that are in Reason after having gotten into hardware. So it feels like, I don't know, like a weird nostalgia to go back to these older instruments, but I'm also feeling so much more inspired because I know what the knobs and the faders and everything does. I think a hard truth to face is that I probably never needed hardware. And certainly maybe it helped me understand some sort of fundamentals, but they just sound really good. And you're talking about a synth that's 23, 24, 25 years old. I mean, come on. Okay, let me show you my patch. That's one of my chords. I just have two oscillators going here. They're both saw waveforms, and then I have them separated by an octave, and then this one's detuned by 7 cents. And then I just have a little bit of resonance on a low pass filter, and then I have that at about halfway. I've got a little bit of an attack and a little bit of decay on the filter envelope. And then I just have the LFO sort of moving the pitch up and down just a little bit to make it sound a little bit warm and analog-y or whatever. Kind of hear something? I don't know. And then I have Scream 4 on here, which is just their all around like distortion, saturation plugin sort of thing. And I just have it set to tape, and I'm just having it add like a little bit of warmth and just a little bit of a low end boost. Here's it off. Here's it on. A little something, right? And then I have set up sort of like a send within the Reason Rack. I'm going to flip it over by pressing tab. And if you take a look here, I've got the output of the distortion unit going into this audio splitter. So it's going in here, and then one of them is going into a dry signal in this mixer, and then the other one is going into this reverb unit, which is just like a really short plate verb. And so I can control the send amount with this here. I'm just gonna bring a little bit up and we'll listen. Right? And then lastly, if I turn this around again, the output of the mixer is going into this channel EQ, and then the channel EQ is going into the master, or running out into the, is running into Ableton. And I just have a little bit of a low cut or a low pass filter, just getting rid of the rumble and like 20 hertz. And then I have just a little bit of a boost here for some of the low frequency around 250, and then some mid stuff, whatever, right? And then here's just a little bit. Okay, so now in the drum rack, what I did was I grabbed each one of those samples and then I just cut them up, right? Here's the other thing that I was talking about. You don't necessarily need a Nord drum to do this because you can just use your MIDI controller. So. So you get it. All right, I'm gonna go over the Nord drum and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let me show you what I have for the layout of the samples on the pad, if that makes sense. That's one chord, another chord. And then on these two, I don't have anything going there. And here's what I have on the Nord drum. My hi-hat. Snare. And then if I'm triggering both of these at the same time, hi. Okay. I'm going to try to put something together with this and hopefully I can get it to sound good. If you get a chance, take a listen to my new EP that I put out with my partner Abigail. It's called Third Order Sim. It's going to be on my Bandcamp. It'll also be on their Bandcamp as well, and it should be on Spotify soon, and I'll put links for that there. If you could listen to that, that would be, oh boy, that'd be so swell. Okay, have a good one. Bye.